Okay, yes, I've been a naughty boy because I didn't put a video up on Sunday, did I? Sorry. Um, we're not going to do a very technical thing today, no. No dynamic range, no ISO invariance, nothing technical, and we're not going to be doing anything to do with landscapes as well. We might have a bit of a change, and I'm going through an old raw file, very old raw file. It's 11 years old, shot in January, February, March, April. Yes, April of 2008. So I was trying to remember what month the 4th was. I was 60 last Friday. I'm 60 years old. My memory's gone. Okay. So, shot back in April 2008, and shot on a D300. What was something of a sex machine when it first came out. Whoa, what a camera! Yeah, and it's coupled here to the behemoth that was the old Sigma 300 to 800, which was a fabulous lens when it worked properly, but I was forever breaking mine. Oh dear, got through those many autofocus motors, it's terrible. Anyway, so we've got the Siggy 300 800 on. It's at 750mm with a crop factor that works out at an angle of view equivalent to 1125mm. You don't handhold this baby. Even if you could handhold the weight, you couldn't handhold the focal length because it would just be up and down, up and down, up and down. So this camera's on a tripod, and we're looking across this small bay in a little Cheshire Mere up in Holmes Chapel, just the other side of Holmes Chapel actually, and this crow's in this reed bed. I mean, don't forget we've not cropped the full frame image, and this crow's in this reed bed, and he's been very naughty. He's been a naughty boy, yes, because it's nesting time for the reed buntings, and so he's looking for any unattended reed bunting eggs or any unattended reed bunting chicks. Yes, because he's a bad lad and he's hungry and he likes to eat eggs and baby chicks. Oh, hey, it's just the way it is. Welcome to wildlife. Now then, it looks very colourful, it looks very impactful, but of course it's got a boatload of contrast on it which just kills everything off. And the crow itself is sharp, single point autofocus through this little gap in the reeds, on the AF back button, and yes, just like threading a needle. Very difficult to do if you're not used to it. But anyway, what I need to do is I need to get the contrast of the image under control, but we're going to finish this image in Photoshop and I'm going to show you a neat little trick. But first of all, I want to do my usual process version swap to get rid of the contrast. So there we go. Now you can see, if I just go and put this in a before after left right, you can see how much more of the plumage of this bird we can see. Now we've taken the excessive contrast out of the blacks. Now we'll come over to the basics panel and we'll put the exposure back in, and I might actually just temporarily put all the contrast back in. I think I'm just going to pull a little bit of it out, and God forbid I actually put a little bit of shadow recovery in there, and now we can see virtually every single component of the plumage of this crow, and we're maintaining the sort of semi-iridescence of some of the feathers where the sunlight actually striking them directly, so we can see a lot more of the crow and the crow's plumage. Just add a little bit more contrast there. Yeah, maybe add a little tiny bit of clarity as well. Yeah, he's not looking too bad at all. However, if we come back out to a fit to screen view on the image, the reeds have gone sort of a bit, yeah, a bit meh. So maybe I want to darken the crow down just a smidgen. I rather like him like that, just with, oh, what, 0.15 of a stop negative just taken out of it, because I want to keep him black. And what else could we do? We could actually turn up the vibrance. I don't want to turn up the saturation because it'll just make it go baking one colour or another. Just want to turn up the vibrance just a little bit. And if we go into the details panel, take it up to 100%. That noise is looking alright in the background. We might just put half a dozen points of noise reduction in, a couple of points of sharpening masking, and yeah, that looks pretty cool. So what we're now going to do is scoot this image over to Photoshop, because what we're going to do now is we're going to add a bit of punch to this image. But where are we going to add the punch? When we deal with a landscape image, we use techniques such as dodging and burning to actually lead the viewer's eye through the image to where we want the viewer's eye to come to rest. Now, the only thing is that the viewer's eye is usually drawn to bright things. That's what they say, yeah? But they're drawn to bright things in an otherwise darker image, yeah? In this instance, this is an otherwise lighter image with a dark subject, yeah? The eye still goes to the crow, the black subject. But what I want to do is I want to add a bit more contrast by enhancing this out of focus foreground. And the way we're going to do it is by a process which you could really call dodging, but it's dodging done a little bit differently than you might think, because we're not going to be using the dodge tool. I never use the dodge tool, never. I prefer to use a paintbrush, and I'll show you how we set it up. So the first thing I'm going to do is stick a new empty layer over the top by clicking the add new layer icon, and I'm going to change the blend mode of that layer from normal to soft light. I'm then going to go and get my colour picker tool, and we are going to pick this light reed here, and you'll notice up at the top I'm in an 11 by 11 average. I might drop that down to a 5 by 5 average, and we'll just come and click in there like that, and you can see this colour we've got is roughly the colour of this stem here, and I'm going to brighten it up. Okay, so now we've lifted the brightness scale up, so we'll click OK, and then I'm going to hit B to pull up my brush tool, and painting inside this new layer, which don't forget is in the soft light blend mode, painting with an opacity of the brush of 46%, a flow of 73%, and you can see how I can lighten that image up. However, all the image has been lit up, and I can go and paint all across the crow, and that's because this brush and this paint is being applied in a uniform way without any restriction. And what we need to do is to find some way of restricting the manner in which this paint is laid down in this soft light blend mode layer. So all we're going to do is just quickly step back through our history just once, and we're going to go and make a mask to control the flow of paint into this new empty layer. And so we're going to use Greg Benzie's Lumenzia for this, and this is my favourite luminosity, for want of a better word, luminosity masking panel. I mean, there's Tony Kuiper's TK Actions, that's vast. We've got Jimmy McIntyre's Raya Pro, we've got Greg's Lumenzia, and there are one or two others, but I actually prefer Lumenzia. I'll put a link up below, up at top, and a link below in the description where you can go and buy it if you've not already got it. And in the interest of openness, if you do buy it off one of the links that you see in this video or anywhere else on my blog or my YouTube channel, then Greg does chuck me a buck or two because he thinks I'm nice. Yes. Anyway, well, I don't think he does, but he, you know. So I'm just going to, in the standard preview mode, I'm just going to load up a light one mask of this image. And something I might or might not have shown you before, we have the levels, a local curve, and a colour conversion layer. These are only temporary layers, and these affect the overall look of the actual mask itself. And the first thing I'm going to do is activate the colour layer, and at the minute this is the default layout of colour filtration, if you like, for this mask. And I'm actually going to take and desaturate the magentas, the blues and the cyans. Now this is where you find something out. We've got greens in there, but you can see the green slider is not making much of a difference. What will make a difference is the yellow slider, yeah, and up to a point the red slider as well. Now what we're looking to do is to lay this paint on these reeds, these out of focus reeds, yeah, but we don't want to lay any on the crow. Now if you come to do this on another picture, something that's got green grass in it or whatever, if there's a lot of green in it, you'll find that the green of green grass actually contains an awful lot of yellow, yeah. But anyway, let's get back to this picture. So I'm going to leave our colour controls set like that, but then I want to go and activate the levels control for this mask. And I'm going to, you see we've got a gap here between the end of the levels histogram and the initial black reading on the histogram. So I'm going to bring the black point past there until the crow goes black, rather like that. I'm then going to bring the highlight slider just about to the end of the histogram there, and just have a play with the mid-tone slider. I don't think we're going to be moving it all that much, and that will do. And so we've now changed the actual tonality of the light one mask. And so I'm going to click select to load that as a selection, and on this active layer here, which is as yet empty, we're going to click the masking icon, and if I hold down the Alt key, there you can see is our mask. So if I now come and click back in the empty layer, and still with my brush, still loaded with this colour, and don't forget the layer is still in the soft light blend mode, I can now go and lift all these reeds, and you'll notice it's affecting some bits of lightness in the background, but not everything. But as I can literally go very slapdash on this, and I can paint right across that crow, and it's not affecting the crow in the slightest. And so we're just building that up, because don't forget the opacity is only at 46%. So I've got to make 3 passes with this brush before I can get its full effect on. And then I think what I might do is just go and get my sample tool again, and just come in here and sample a little bit of that green, and then we'll just go and lift its brightness a smidge, rather like that, and then still with the old brush, and I might just shrink it down a little bit, and I can just go and lift up those greens there. maybe just in there and in there and in there. Just come up there, and there we go. And if you want to see the difference that we've made, there's the image as it started out, there's the image how it looks now. We haven't affected the crow, but what we've done is we've increased the brightness and the saturation of these out of focus reeds in the foreground, and it hasn't taken any effort. Just a little tiny bit of understanding of how we can structure or change the structure of a mask created initially by Greg Benz's lumenzia, and use that mask to constrict a Dodge paint effect, and marrying the colours of the paint up to the actual colours in the image, and just constricting the flow of this effect to exactly where we want it. So there you go. I hope that's proved useful to you. I hope that's given you some food for thought, and that is a technique that you can go, I'm sure you can go and find an image on your hard drive now, and you can go and put that technique into practice. I'm going to be doing a dodge and burn training title very shortly, where we'll go into this sort of thing in far greater detail, and so there we go. Well, that will be coming out probably in the next 4 to 5 weeks, and then we've got a big exposure project going on as well, and I'm just waiting to do a review of a couple of screen calibrators here, the i1 Display Pro and the very commonly used Spider Pro 5, but I'm actually waiting for Datacolor to send me the new Spider X as well, and so I'm just hoping they pull the bloody finger out and get that to me sooner rather than later, because I actually do want to get that review. That will be a technical review, and comparison, and see which one's best for you guys. Yeah, I want to get that done sooner rather than later. So anyway, yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that, guys. Hope you found something, you got something useful out of it, and until the next time, be good, keep taking the pictures, and I'll see you soon. Tooroo.